Hi guys, welcome to my channel. So this is actually my first video. Yeah, I didn't know really where to start on making a video. I've always wanted to do it, always wanted to start a channel just to talk about vinyl and my collection and stuff like that. But yeah, I didn't know where to start, and then Rob Walker released the Vinyl Tag 2024, and I thought it's a perfect place to introduce myself and just show a little bit of what I've got, what I like, and what I've collected over the past 5-6 years. Got quite an eclectic taste of stuff, but it's nothing too unfamiliar to everybody. Yeah, from Cardiff, so I'm surrounded by amazing record stores like Kelly's, Spiller's, Cardiff Record Exchange, Criminal Records in Newport, Diggers Club, the appointment only record store in Cardiff, which is blown up this past year. I'd definitely recommend any of these if you haven't been to them before. Just visit Cardiff and go to these record stores because they're absolutely incredible. So yeah, I'll start with question one. Favourite record you purchased in 2023? So I'm going to go with Soul Savers Broken. I've been after this record for so long, never thought I'd ever find it in the wild, and lo and behold, I found it. Probably the most pricey record I have in my collection, but I'm so glad that I have it. My absolute favourite, Mark Lanigan's voice is perfect on it. Yeah, it's just absolutely incredible album. Last record I purchased in 2023, so just after Christmas we visited some relatives in Bristol, so I popped by Plastic Wax Records in Gloucester Road and I found this Minor Threat 12-inch, originally on 2 7-inches, but I'm not going to be able to afford those prices, so this is a perfect alternative. The 12-inch sounds incredible, raw, beautiful. Yeah. A band or singer who released 2 or more albums in the same year. So I'm going to go with an obvious one, Led Zeppelin, with Led Zeppelin 1, Led Zeppelin 2, both released in 1969. Yeah, what more can be said about these 2 albums? Absolutely incredible. Fortunate enough to get a first press of the Led Zeppelin 2 from a record fair in London. And I've got a pretty cool late 70s press, strawberry pressing of Led Zeppelin 1, which sounds amazing. So yeah, these are my picks for that one. Next question. If you could only listen to music from one decade, which decade would you choose? This was a hard one. I love 70s rock. I love 90s rock, heavy metal, hip hop. But I have to choose, I've just gone with the 80s for stuff like this. What more can be said about this record? Yeah, absolutely perfect. Track by track. Nothing more can be said about that one. The punk rock in the 1980s was amazing, with bands such as Black Flag. This album being one of my favourites, My War. Henry Rollins features a little bit more in this video, but I love Black Flag. Also, Beastie Boys, Paul's Boutique, amazing album. Most of samples on any album going, but it's an absolute feat of genius. And lastly, Metallica and Justice for All. My favourite Metallica album from Metallica, probably one of my favourite bands of all time. Loved them all the way since school, when I got introduced to them. And this album is just ripper after ripper, so heavy, so good. Which band? Show a record by a band or singer from Manchester. So I'm going to go with obvious one, New Order, Substance, 1987. In my opinion, the only New Order album you actually need. It's got everything on there, but I could be ruffling some feathers with that, so apologies, but that's just my opinion. Which band or singer did you listen to most in 2023? So this person blew up last year. He's been around for quite some time, around 7 years or so, maybe longer, but released his debut album last year, and that is Cass is Dead. Amazing underground, well, not so underground anymore, but rapper from London, who released his debut album last year, Famous Last Words, which is absolutely incredible, so I highly recommend it. And also, if you can grab it, his mixtape that he brought out along with the album, but this was released around 7 years ago, called Number 23. Both amazing, both come with absolutely amazing tracks on there. If you ever get to see him live, he performs a lot now, didn't used to, but I've been to see him a few times in London. Absolutely amazing, mysterious as ever, still wears a mask, nobody knows who he is, and yeah, just absolutely incredible. Show 7-inch records. So I don't really collect singles or 7-inch records, until recently, really. So I picked up a few along the way, but I don't have that many, so these are pretty much all I have. But I'm going to start with quite a novelty one, which is World Wrestling Federation superstars singing WrestleMania. Just had to get this just purely for nostalgia reasons. Yeah, it's just quite funny, really, but also comes with the song Slam Jam as well, which is just as bad. I'm a big fan of Idols, so I've got 2 Idol singles, Model Village, which also features Model Village featuring Slow Tie, which is a pretty cool additional track, and Idol's sort of EP, which has Mercedes Marxist and I Dream Guillotine on it. Both tracks aren't available on any LPs, so that's pretty cool to have. Picked this one up for quite cheap from a charity shop. It's called Identity, Some Kind of Fun. It's a 5-track EP by they call themselves a hardcore punk band from Kent, but I would say they're a little bit more pop punk, but yeah, it's still pretty cool, and it looks quite homemade as well, which is also quite nice. Most recently I purchased Out of Step Outtakes by Minor Threat. Comes with In My Eyes and Filler, which have been sort of revamped from the main EPs that came out beforehand, and also a new track, Adam's Family, which is quite cool as well. Before you get too excited, this isn't an original Negative Approach. This is a 2021 reissue of Negative Approach, but it's still cool to have. Obviously, I can't afford an original. I would never find an original. If I did, that would be very lucky, but it's still pretty cool to have this 2021 reissue. It still sounds great, so yeah, I'm glad to have that. And lastly, Victimize, Where Did the Money Go? So this is a 4-track single as well, but this is a band from Barry Island, so very close to me, and they're around the 70s. What's really cool is their bassist was Bryn Merrick, who was actually in The Damned later on in the 80s. Played on like Phantasmagoria and Anything album. So check out Victimize if you can. Next question. Who's coming to your party? Choose 4 music-related people to come to an imaginary dinner party, past or present. Who would you invite? So I'm going to go with MF Doom, one of my favourite artists of all time. Love everything that he's done. Gutted he isn't around anymore, but so glad to have albums like this that can just carry on spinning. Yeah, that's the first guest. Next, Prince. Got to invite Prince. Just one of the most mysterious characters, rock stars of all time. He'll show up to the party and then leave without anybody knowing. He'll just vanish. And that'll just be really cool to have. Next, Kate Bush. Gotta have Kate Bush at the party. So down to earth, so normal. I think she'll just be really, really fun company. And lastly, my hero, Henry Rollins, most intelligent, most interesting, most fascinating guy, so much energy. Just love to sit down and chat with him. Next question is, we lost them. Choose one musician who passed away in 2023. This was at the very start of the year, but Tom Verlaine of Television, this album and the next follow-up album as well, both amazing, and but this album in particular, one of the best guitar albums of all time. Yeah, can't stop listening to this album, played it so many times, just gutted that he's no longer with us. Imagine you could only listen to music from one country. Which country would you choose? This was also a difficult one. I love American music, just the heavy metal, the hip hop scene, the punk rock scene, but I'm gonna have to go with the UK purely just for some of the bands that have come from here. So Beatles, Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin, even bands like The Damned, David Bowie, Killing Joke, and one of my favourite bands of all time right now, Idols. Could not stop listening to any of those bands, so I'm going to have to choose the UK for that. Name 3 vinyl community channels you discovered in 2023. So I watched quite a few leading up, but in 2023 discovered quite a few new ones. 3 that stand out are Martin's Vinyl. Check that guy out. He's got a really cool collection. He only collects like first presses and promos, so he's on quite the hunt for a lot of stuff, and a quite expensive hunt as well. But yeah, that channel's really good, so I recommend that one. The Vinyl Dude, who is from, I believe, around this area. Yeah, those videos are really cool as well, so check those out. And he really likes like hip hop and stuff like that, so his collection is pretty cool. And lastly, a new one, which is Vinyl Hunters, which is not so much people showing off their records, but it's more people hunting. It's just a guy with his granddad, goes to different record fairs and does their best haggling to get the best deals for a lot of records that they need. And the granddad seems to have pretty much everything, especially by Uriah Heep, which would be pretty cool to see. But yeah, so they're my 3. Show a record you bought when you were a teenager. So like I said at the beginning, I started collecting from about 5-6 years ago. But when I started, like, one of my favourite bands growing up was the Eagles. So managed to find this in a charity shop. and that was one of my very first purchases, so I'm going to go with this one. Very vanilla, but still love it. And who doesn't like the Eagles? Come on. Show a funk or soul record. I'm going to go with Al Green, Let's Stay Together. Amazing record. Al Green's voice is incredible on this. How Can You Mend a Broken Heart? Probably still, in my opinion, the best song to listen to through headphones. It's just, it'll suck you into another world. But yeah, this is my choice for that. Show a record you think that everybody has, then show a record you think nobody has. So I think everybody, in some way, shape or form, has Purple Rain by Prince. Yeah, it's just timeless, an absolute classic. Everybody needs to own this if they start collecting vinyl. It's like one of the first records you go out and get. It's so good. Show me a record that you think nobody has. So I got this one recently. It was given to me by the owner of Criminal Records in Newport. So we've kind of strung up a pretty good friendship. So he is a very, he's a well-respected punk rocker from Newport called Dean Bettis. And he was in bands such as Cowboy Killers, and he's currently in a band called Bad Sam, which have also got a few records out, so I'd recommend checking those out. But Cowboy Killers, a band from Newport, this is his actual personal copy that he gave me, which comes with a satire book in the back. But yeah, really nice gift to have. I've been wanting this as well for about a year or so when listening to them and trying to explore music from South Wales, and especially punk rock. And this cover, just, I took a shine to it, and yeah, he just so happens to own that shop in Newport, so definitely check him out. Really nice guy, but absolutely crazy. She's Great, a record by a female artist you bought in 2023. So this one I found at a charity shop, and it's another one of those records I don't think many people will have, but it's so nice for me to have it. It's Mary Griffiths and Welsh Folk. So this is a completely Welsh album, but Mary Griffiths was a presenter, but also a musician, and she can absolutely rip that guitar. Some of the finger picking and everything on this album is second to none. The vocals are amazing, sounds like just a Welsh Mary Poppins, and yeah, it's a awesome album. The favourite video you posted on your channel in 2023 and the favourite video you watched on the VC in 2023. So this is my first video, so I don't really have a favourite video that I've posted. Favourite video somebody else posted, so I'm a really big fan for the past few years of watching videos from Dylan at Noble Records. My favourite video is when he got a collection from Chris Whitson. If you haven't seen the video, check it out. I'm not going to do it justice by talking about it, but it's just a really huge collection that he got from someone who sadly passed away at a very young age. And they just kept, and the family kept the records in storage, and then he bought them, but he went and sold them on, but with his name. So I definitely recommend that video. It was really, really good. Quite emotional as well. Show me a record you describe as a 90s classic. It's one that's constantly playing, and that's The Verve, Urban Hymns. just a beautiful album, absolutely incredible. Lucky Man, Bittersweet Symphony, what more can you say? So that's one 90s classic. If you could walk into a cover, look through your collection and choose a record cover you'd like to be a part of. This was a hard one. I was trying to figure out which cover I would choose, and then I just found the one that looked the most comfy. So yeah, A Momentary Lapse of Reason by Pink Floyd. Just a lot of beds. Take your pick. It's like a greatest hits. Show a record you're so familiar with that feels like a greatest hits. Green Day Dookie. This was one of the first albums I bought when I was a kid, but on CD. I absolutely loved it. I was in DT class and I made a buzzer out of wood and I used this picture as my decoration. Yeah, it's just track by track, just the greatest hits, just everything on it, no word for word. And the last question, show me an album that was released in 1974, so 50 years old. So going back to the Noble Records video is about the Chris Whitson collection. I actually was fortunate to pick up Chris Whitson's very own version of Caught and Spark by Joni Mitchell. I had this record before, but I gave my copy to my niece just to get her started, and just thought that she needed to hear it. And then this became available, so I managed to luckily get it, and yeah, just absolutely beautiful album. Joni Mitchell's incredible. So that's the 20 questions. That was my first video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll hopefully do more videos in the future, going through a lot more of my collection and a lot more of what I do and a lot more about me. But for now, I think I'm gonna post this one up, and if you would like to subscribe and be on the lookout for any more videos that I produce, that'd be amazing. See you.